Call the Committee of the Whole of Monday, July the 27th to order. There's an agenda in front of you. Council, can I have a motion, please, to adopt the agenda? Councilors Cunningham and Niche. Any additions or deletions? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We have a single item on the agenda this evening, and that is a presentation from Trigon Terminals with regards to the Wetland Protection Project. Come on forward. You just need to turn on the microphone once and introduce yourself and take it away.
I can get the PowerPoint to.
We're going to get the
I might need IT support. I'm not sure where.
the technical support going here.
Oh, there we go. Great. Okay, perfect. Okay, well, hopefully everybody can see that all right. We'll start at the start of the presentation. That seems to be a good idea.
There we go.
All right. Well, good evening, Council. You guys are 180 around me here. It's a lot to.
And one on this online as well.
Oh, great, fantastic. And hi to everybody online also. And thank you for taking the time this evening. We do appreciate the opportunity to discuss Trigon's proposed conservation and trail project near Oliver Lake. So here we go. Okay. So as a refresher to our presentation at the December 2025 Council meeting, Trigon is advancing this concept to satisfy requirements of a wetland function compensation plan that addresses impacts to wetlands on Ridley Island from land clearing activities carried out in 2025. That being said, Trigon is actually really excited about this project and the benefits. It will provide for the ecosystem, for the Indigenous community, the people of Prince Rupert and Port Edward. The goals of the project are to set up long-term protection for the Oliver Lake wetlands, construction of an Indigenous and public use trail, habitat for species at risk such as little brown myotis, invasive species removal, and the installation of educational and cultural signage. As you can see, the overall project area covers both provincial land, which is kind of the purple area, and city-owned land, which is the blue polygon. The trail is the pink squiggly line that traverses both jurisdictions. The borders of the provincial crown land have shifted slightly since the presentation in December to accommodate updated quarry tenure, which you can see immediately to the west of our site, and also to ensure that Oliver Creek, which is the outlet from Oliver Lake, the riparian was fully protected as we went through things, as well as trading off and adding additional old growth, which is in the northwest corner of the polygon that you can see there. Regardless, the province was more than happy with the shift. There was no real concerns there whatsoever. Oops, wrong way, sorry. So since we last spoke to council, we've been actively moving the project forward. We submitted a land lease application to the province to protect the land and allow for the construction and maintenance of the trail. And as part of that process, we ran adverts in the Northern View, inviting feedback on the project. No opposition was registered through that process. The province has shared that they haven't received any feedback, any negative feedback from any of the provincial departments they reached out to either, so they could be in a position to approve their land lease as part of the project in the coming months. In addition, we've continued monthly meetings with the nations to develop and design a design framework for the interpretive science and walk the trail with them to ground truth the ideas in real life. We've also held a weed pull with the nations, PRPA, and the Cayenne Trails to remove European marsh thistle, which was part of our plan that you might remember from December. It was actually a really fun day, and we removed around roughly 30-ish bags of weeds. As a reminder, today the fee simple land owned by the city has no protections or covenants of any kind. And Trigon is proposing that the city place protection covenants on the land and that Trigon would build the trail and signage, as well as covering the long-term maintenance costs. We would continue to work with the Cayenne Trail Society to align the project with their long-term vision. And we believe that the project aligns well with the city's official community plan and climate action and adaptation plan. The project would create new recreational infrastructure with no cost to the city. Here's just a couple of quick photos from the weed pull we held in June of this year. It's the first of a multi-year effort to eliminate the European marsh thistle growing along the power line and near the corner of Ridley Island Road and the highway. We pulled out around, like I said, roughly 36 bags of weeds. We kind of lost track, to be honest. It was quite a few. And it was a hot and sweaty day. And it was great to be out with the nations, the PRPA, and the Canadian Trail Society. We're going to continue these over the next bunch of years because it was so effective and kind of fun. So, our formal ask to the City of Prince Rupert. We are asking that the city place a covenant on the city-owned fee simple land at Oliver Lake that protects the wetlands and allows for the construction and maintenance of the trail and associated interpretive signage. Part 2 of the ask is to develop an MOU with Trigon that ensures that the development and maintenance costs are not borne by the City of Prince Rupert. We can work with the city and our legal team to draft up what those agreements look like. Our plan is to try get our work complete by the end of 2029. Our hope is that we can have our approvals from the city and the province in place this fall so that we can move to detailed design and procurement, which would allow construction to move forward in 2027. Signage would likely follow in 2028, as there are a number of steps we need to work through to ensure the signage honors the work we've begun with the nations and to align it with other new signage rolling out on other trails in Prince Rupert in the coming months. By 2029, we hope to have the project completed and the provincial lease modified and integrated with the Canadian Trail Society to ensure the long-term stewardship of it. And that completes our presentation, and more than happy to take on any questions you guys might have.
Council. Councillor Adey.
Couple of questions. First of all, thanks for the presentation. I don't know about anybody else, but I find this one a very easy one to support for loads of reasons. But I'm curious about the covenant. If we're asked to put a covenant in place, is that an in perpetuity, or would there be a time frame associated with that? And my second question is about accessibility to the trail. If you've kind of mapped out the route, what are the elevation changes? How accessible would it be to people with mobility challenges and so on?
Yeah, absolutely. So part one, the covenant, the timeline we would determine working with the city and the planning department. Obviously, long term is the best for the wetland, but we would understand if they want to do, a chunk of time, whatever, 20, 30 years, and, that's renewable upon, at that future period or something like that. But we would love to see it protected in perpetuity. I mean, wetlands are like the lungs of a system like this, or lungs and liver, I should say. They do a lot, and there's not a lot of nicely accessible wetlands in this area, despite it being very wetlandy, if you will. So, sort of a funny one. But we're building the trail with long-term vision in mind for durability and for ensuring that there's recreational opportunities well past my lifetime. So my hope is that we consider the long term. And in terms of accessibility, we are designing so that it is going to be accessible to the vast majority of people. I can't say it's absolutely everybody, because there's provincial guidance and federal guidance on this that specifies exact grades and everything like that. But we would be working with Canadian Trails on very similar to what you've seen on the initial phase, the Cloudberry Trail, not in terms of width and everything, but in terms of like intentionally staying to below 6 degrees, having enough width that a bike or a wheelchair or something like that can move there. We'll have to kind of consider, as you interface between the gravel trail and a boardwalk, what that means. Like if there's a ramp, and a step, like that's the stuff we're going to work through with detailed design. But of the overall Cloudberry Trail network that's being proposed, this is actually the flattest piece. So this is going to be the most accessible piece of the entire Cloudberry Trail network. So it's kind of, in my view, ideal that it's being built not first, but in some of the initial phases of that project, in so much as, one, you get the benefit of protecting the wetland. 2, it's got a built-in parking lot already, and it's there's usage already. But because of that elevational grade, it's going to be accessible to a lot of people. So I think a lot of people are going to use it. Yeah.
Councillor Randawa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Uh, Thank you for your presentation. Looks a great project. During the construction period, you'll be looking construction workers from local or from outsiders?
Yeah, great question. So we haven't got into the procurement process itself to know that with 100% certainty. But one thing I'm very cognizant of is that hiring just anybody to build in a wetland is something we'd be very careful about, right? It requires a specific skill set and experience so that we don't negatively impact the wetland that we're trying to preserve in the first place. There are groups in the Northwest that have good experience doing this between Smithers, Terrace, and Rupert. And we would be opening it up to an RFP process that we would need to see demonstrated experience working on trails and wetlands to be successful, winning that contract. Those, amongst other things, I mean, I won't get into the whole thing, but those are two really critical components. So all I can say is my hope would be that somebody local, it might be more from the Northwest, but I don't see anybody coming up from like Vancouver or something like that to do it.
Councillor Nish.
Just a question, as far as the city placing a covenant on the wetland, how would that have any effect on kind of the current use? A lot of people use that lake or pond or whatever you want to call it, for like skating in the winter. It's a very popular spot for people.
Yeah.
I just want to know if by placing that covenant, if that's going to kind of restrict any other use of that pond.
No, I mean that's recreational use, and that stuff can all be listed and documented in that covenant. The one thing that I would love to see less of, perhaps, is the evidence of fires and uncontrolled, I should say, bonfires and leftover beer cans and such. That does find its way around the edge of the lake there. That's something that I think we would like to target with some educational signage more than maybe written documentation in a covenant or something like that. But when we were out there, I was out there just like 2 weeks ago or something. And you got a picnic bench and then it's just a huge fire pit. It's like 8 feet across. Right. That really isn't super good for the Oliver Lake itself, and it's a little unsightly. Right. You got kids that want to come play there and everything like that. And there's broken glass in there. There's springs and all sorts of weird stuff, right? Like, that's something that I think by helping maybe influence how people use that it'll end up better used for more people, right, of various ages.
Councillor Cunningham.
Okay, thanks for the presentation. I think it's great Trigon stepping up with what I call a legacy project. We've had a lot of companies come here, rape and plunder and leave, and there's no footprint of them there. But I like the idea that you're going to be tying in with Cloudberry and Trail Society. They're kind of money strapped, and every little bit helps for them. But it's probably going to be a very popular project. And what are you going to be doing for parking? Are you going to increase the parking lot there, or that's something I haven't seen any plans for?
Yeah, at the moment we don't have any plans to increase the parking lot. I mean, that is a city-owned parking lot there. Looking at usage of the other trails in this area, I'm not sure it necessarily needs to be that much bigger on any given day, like on average. But I think it's a really important point you're raising. If it is incredibly well loved and liked, that might be something that needs to be considered in the future. And like we said, Trigon's going to be contributing long-term funds for upkeep, maintenance of the trail and everything like that. And that's perhaps something that can be considered if and when that becomes a necessity. Certainly, I wouldn't take it off the table at all. It doesn't make any sense to, right? I mean, but I don't want to get ahead of myself either and think that it's going to be so popular that we'll start by a whole new parking lot as well, right? So,
Pave the wetland so we can see the wetland.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a bit of room in there, I think. You know, but yeah, no, it's a great point. And you know, looking at some of the other facilities, I mean, the nice thing is that there's a good, you know, outhouse facility there already, and things like that. You know, there's a lot of infrastructure in play already. You know, I think you know, in our we'll look at our overall budget, but you know, like probably you know, regrading and improving some of like the picnic benches and things like that, and covering up the fire pits and things like that, or providing a you know, a suitable place. I haven't really got that far with it, but you know, that would be important things to think about too, right? So that the existing user is also still honored and given the opportunity to use it how they have currently been using it, except for the people that are just trudging off, running amok into the wetlands, which is of course something that we do want to control.
My only concern is it gets like Butsy on a sunny day.
Yeah.
Where the parking lot's full and then people are parking on both sides of the
On the
road and
highway.
it narrows down the highway. And that highway section right there is already a little narrower than other parts of the highway. So just
No,
an
it's,
observation you might have to look at down the road, but
Yeah.
if it's going to be that popular, that'll be great.
yeah, it's a good problem to have if we run into it in the future. But it's really good to raise that now and start thinking about it, right? And similar to how we need to think about it with Butsy and you know, certainly in the summer months with you know, every time I've done Butsy in the past few months, you know, there's always a bus that rolls up, right, with people from the cruise ship as well, right? And you know, that also takes space. It's all of a sudden harder to park, right? All things that need to be considered, right, in terms of how we design these things and how they're used in the future.
CEO Pucci, do you have any recommendations in terms of council? You want a recommendation from council to direct staff or
We actually have a report that's included
in
in
the,
the
right,
in the document tonight that will allow that.
all right, if there's nothing else, thank you very much.
Thank you all. Yeah, much appreciated. Nice
Yeah.
to see everybody again.
All right. That's it for the agenda. So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Councilors Randawa and Forster, all in favor? Any opposed? It is carried, and we'll move into the regular council meeting. Call the regular council meeting of Monday, July the 27th to order, and ask please for a motion to approve the agenda. Councilors Adie and Forster, any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We have an opportunity for members of the public to come and comment on any item that's on the agenda this evening. If there's any member of the public that wants to come forward, nobody's running for a microphone. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. Did not mean to race right past you. Come on forward. Introduce yourself, please, and
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Steve Keatsman, and I work for Doane Grant Thornton. And our report was included in the package. And the audit, we're the auditors for the city of Prince Rupert. And it is a requirement of our Canadian auditing standards now that the audit's been completed that we have open communications with mayor and council. So if I could just have a few minutes of your time, I'd really appreciate that. So as I've said, we've completed our audit of the financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2025. And what is an audit? An audit is us assessing the risk of material misstatement in the financial statements, consolidated financial statements of the city of Prince Rupert, and then design audit procedures to address that particular risk. We also need to obtain an understanding of the internal controls within the city, and I'm happy to say that we found no material issues with any of the internal controls within the city. And I think a large portion of that is down to the fact that Corinne and her team have been together for a very, very long time. And it is rare that in the Northwest, everybody's struggling to find finance people. Our audit results, there's an assumed risk with any audit that there's a fraud risk via management override of internal controls. And this is a Canadian auditing standards presumed risk. So how did we address this risk? We tested journal entries. We analyzed significant accounting estimates for evidence of management bias, and we reviewed significant transactions outside the ordinary course of business. And our audit procedures did not uncover any significant issues. There was one significant transaction within the year. That was the CN Land Exchange. We reviewed that transaction and concur with management's presentation of that particular transaction. One of the issues that has been a bit of a hot topic issues of late is employee future benefits. And we believe that the employee future benefits number within the City of Prince Rupert is somewhat significant, and we would highly encourage and recommend to Mayor and Council that in the forthcoming financial year, consideration might be given to bringing in an actuary to do a once-off valuation on the employee future benefits in order to have them tick off all of the assumptions and give the green light for many years on a go-forward basis. Another issue that it has become a hot topic of late is cybersecurity, and the city is also very fortunate to have Marco and his team, extremely experienced people that not only deal with the hardware-related issues, but also the access-related issues, and they're on top of any potential security breaches. So, in conclusion, I would just like to genuinely thank Corinne and the rest of her team for all of their hard work in facilitating us through the audit process, and I thank Mayor and Council for your kind attention. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah. Councillor Randawa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for your report. And I would like to thank our financial department for excellent job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. Councillor Adey.
I appreciate that you're here. It's a surprise to know that I wasn't going to be directing this question at our CFO. I've got somebody here I can direct a question to. I had a question around under the section on consolidated entries. The public library and the airport authority are both identified as needing to be consolidated into the city's financial statements. And the report then states, and just as a caveat, one of the reasons I'm interested is I'm also sitting on the library board. They may be curious about this if they see this item on the agenda. The report states that the emission of the public library was assessed to be immaterial to the financial statements. However, the emission of the Prince Rupert Airport Authority was considered material as the financial impact could not be determined. So my questions, I've got three questions around that. What is the difference between the two, between the library and the airport authority? What changes, if any, are both these organizations likely to experience as a result of consolidation? And I'm suggesting that the answer, whether it relates to the public library, would be one that I could take back to them. And then the third question is, what do we see as the anticipated impact of consolidating on the city's finances?
Excellent. I'll go here first.
Yeah, thank you very much. So the reason that the library's non-consolidation is not significant is dollar value, and for the Prince Rupert Airport Authority, we also do the the audit of the Prince Rupert Airport Authority, their numbers are just bigger. So for the library, as part of the audit of the city of Prince Rupert, we actually audit all of the significant transactions that go through the library anyway. And we audit the payroll. All of the library's payroll is run through the city of Prince Rupert, and we know what the approved grant is. So the changes as a result of currently in the financial statements, the library is shown as a due to from. All of the transactions of the library actually run through VADM, which is the city's accounting program. So amending that and consolidating the library is a very easy process in future years. I don't believe the library will have to do anything, or we won't need to prepare a separate set of financial statements. It'll just be audited along with the city. Prince Rupert Airport Authority, as I mentioned, we also do the audit there. The airport authority has a non-coterminous year-end with the city, and the only reason that it's been mentioned that it potentially needs to be consolidated is because of the ability of the mayor and council to appoint members of the board. So management are actively reaching out and looking to change the bylaws so that there is a more a wider net being cast for board members for the library, and with active input of other organizations with the city of Terrace that they've asked for time to basically be able to do that. So I think were the airport consolidated into the income statement and balance sheet of the city, I think more than anything it would muddy the waters. There are other municipalities that do have airports in the northwest that are fully consolidated into financial statements, but management has indicated a desire for that not to be the case, and are exploring options where that is concerned. Because for the airport, they need to change their year end, and I think the important balances pertaining to Prince Rupert legacy and to the city, the amounts that are owing in terms of debt to both of those entities are clearly stated and shown in the city's financial statements anyhow. So,
CFO Bauman, did you have any further comment you want to make?
I'll probably just say that agree with what the auditor has indicated, that for the library there is no impact. It simply is just a few lines that we need to add to the financial statements. The financial statements were a little bit later this year, or else we would have probably been able to undertake that exercise. At the end of the day, it was immaterial anyway. But we intend on consolidating next year. As the auditor has indicated, they're already examining many of the transactions in the library anyway. And as he's also mentioned, the airport, their year end is March 31st. For them, we could not consolidate the information because the last audit date was so far away from the city's audit date. And so to be able to consolidate would require a financial outlay on the airport's behalf to change their year end, potentially to make it match up with the city's. Or alternatively, we would have to undergo, or the airport would have to undergo a stub period, or the city would have to pay for a stub period audit every single year in order to be able to get some assurance that the financial statement numbers reported and included in this city's financial statements could be relied on. So it's not to say that the airport's financial statements are unreliable. It's just they need to do certain procedures and tests to be able to put their name beside it to say, yes, we can rely on it. That's simply all it is.
Councillor Eady.
And one more, and it's more for my education than anything else, but there's a list of uncorrected misstatements, and I don't really understand fully what that means and whether that's within those there are things that we should be concerned about.
That's a really good question. No set of financial statements that you're ever presented with is perfect, and if anybody tells you they are, don't believe them. And any municipality, school district that we go in and audit, there are misstatements that arise primarily because of timing differences. So we have a certain date on which to we kind of need to conclude on and get our report on, and often, as much as we try to, there are certain invoices that come in very, very late, and so where we would start getting concerned with material misstatements. So we just keep like a tally of them, add them up, and we look at the final dollar value. Where we would start getting concerned is a level called performance materiality, and where we wouldn't be able to issue an appropriate opinion on the financial statements if they were significantly over materiality. The numbers shown here in this table are below preliminary. They're below overall and performance materiality, so they are not a concern. And we go through each and every single one of them with a client. It takes a long time. It takes hours and hours and hours to change and amend a set of financial statements. And you could think, like, we could give management a year to get the financial statements into absolutely more refined state where we don't have anything on the statement of on the list of misstatements. But I mean, it's not practical, and this is very common on any municipality or school district that we audit. Thank you.
Again, CFO Bauman, opportunity to comment.
Yeah, I would just say that the thing to pay attention to is the percentage of the overall assets, liabilities, and net assets. And you can clearly see that it's a very immaterial amount, even if we had been able to actually extend the amount of time to be able to incorporate all those differences that happen after we do what's called cutoff, which is as the auditor has mentioned, we need to basically say, okay, this is where it's going to end, and we're just going to do the reports based on this. And it's not just, and I will just add, it's not just municipalities, it's not school districts. This happens in private organizations as well. It's the same situation that everybody faces when you're doing reports. There's stuff that happens, or you receive stuff afterwards, and you simply can't keep going back because you'll never get done.
Great. Any other questions or comments? CEO Pucci, anything? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for your time.
Appreciate it. All right. Moving on, we have a number of minutes to approve. We have the minutes of the special meeting to close June 29th, minutes of the regular meeting of June 29th, minutes of the committee of the whole of June 29th. There is the minutes of the special meeting to close on July the 6th, and the minutes of the special regular meeting of July the 6th. There's reports for receipt, reports from planning. It's a development activity report. The report from planning, a community planning activity report. Report from the Chief Financial Officer on the 2025 Auditor's Report. Report from the Chief Financial Officer, May 2026 Financial Variance Report. Report from the Fire Chief with the monthly Fire Rescue Report for June. There's a report from the RCMP, monthly Mayor Chief and Council report for June. There's correspondence for receipt. North Coast Regional District Board highlights. Regional District of Central Okanagan with regards to local government climate action program. Town of Lake Cowichan elect respect campaign. Corporation of the District of Oak Bay local government climate action program. Funding recommendation is that all items on the consent agenda be approved or received as requested. Motion, please. Councilors Ady and Randawa. Any discussion? Councilor Forster.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Looking at the Regional District, Central Okanagan, and District of Oak Bay, the local government climate action program, it looks, there's a lot of really good information in the Oak Bay one that talks about different things that the funding can be used for. Does our city access any of that funding?
CEO Pucci.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we did get that funding when it was available, but it is sunsetting as far as I'm aware. And that's what this is talking about, is that it is sunsetting.
Okay. Can we possibly take this out so that then we could do a motion for us to write a letter of support?
Yes, of course you can.
Because this is for receipt.
Yep. Yeah. CEO Pucci.
Staff can just take that direction if you would like to
Perfect.
have a letter done. We don't need to pull it out if.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's have it this way. It's a simple motion to,
do a letter of support.
in addition to the regular recommendations, to a letter of support. Yeah. Moved by Councillor Forster, seconded Councillor Cunningham. Any discussion on the amendment? All in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. Anything else? No. Councillor Cunningham.
Just a quick comment on the community planning activity report. A lot of these projects are funded by grants, and I keep hearing people saying, well, why are we wasting money on that? Why don't we fix potholes with it and things like this? Right. What I want to point out is these are grants specific to a project. I keep telling people that, but on the great electronic complaint board, we keep getting this, the famous Facebook complaint board. Why are we wasting money on this when we could be using it for that? Yeah. Well, hopefully enough people hear me say, again, this is specific to a specific project, and the fund is identified by the provincial government for that project. We can't use it for anything else. Yeah. Yep.
Wherever the money is coming from, whether it's another level of government department or private sector donations, the people are motivated by something to give the money, and they're giving it under certain conditions. And there's the Japanese fund that's going to hopefully do something for us in Mariners Park, but it comes with a bunch of conditions that can't go to fill potholes, right? And so, well emphasized. Any other comments? All in favor of the main motion? Any opposed? It is carried. We move on to reports. A report from the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer with regards to the liquor license amendment. Recommendation is that Council direct staff to provide a letter of support to the BC Liquor and Cannabis Licensing Branch with respect to the application by the Crest Convention Center for a new liquor primary license at 240 First Avenue West, with hours of operation from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. Sunday through Saturday. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Forster, Councillor Nish. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We have a report from the Chief Administrative Officer with regards to liquid waste management program review. Recommendation that Council direct staff to undertake a comprehensive review of the city's liquid waste management program and return to Council by the end of 2026 with recommendations for the program in 2027. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Forster, Councillor Randawa. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. Report from the Director of Planning and Development Services with regards to the Oliver Lake Wetland Protection Covenant and Operations Agreements. There's a little bit for me to read here, so bear with me. That Council receives the report titled Oliver Lake Wetland Protection Covenant and Operations Agreement, and that Council authorize and direct staff to work with Trigon Pacific Terminals and legal counsel to prepare and register a covenant over city-owned lands legally titled Block E of District Lot 251, Range 5, Coast District, adjacent to Oliver Lake for the purpose of wetland protection, environmental stewardship, trail development, and compatible recreation and interpretive use, and that Council authorize and direct staff to negotiate and execute a maintenance stewardship, operating or similar agreement with Trigon Pacific Terminals, establishing responsibilities for construction, operation, monitoring, maintenance, and long-term stewardship of the trails and signage associated with public amenities. Motion, please. Councilors Cunningham and Nish. Any discussion? Councilor Ady.
As I suggested, it's an easy one to support. I can appreciate that industry is sometimes put in a position where they are regulated to make certain contributions. But beyond that, this is something that combines responsible environmental stewardship and a contribution that creates an amenity that in our current budgetary circumstances, we just don't have room for. So I think it's a win-win on all kinds of levels. So I'm very supportive.
Excellent. CAO Pucci.
Thank you, Mayor. So in here we have to negotiate the covenant. I would suggest starting with a 49-year covenant if council is comfortable with that.
49?
49, yeah. If that works, or if council wants to give direction on timeline.
I'm fine with it. As council got okay, Councilor Ady.
I'm just curious, is there a significance to the number 49?
It's the age that CAO Pucci wishes he was. No, I'm kidding. CAO Pucci.
They typically you do 49 or 99, and then in the 50th year is whether it goes to the next iteration. That's just a classic way of doing it, but I'm open to any sort of suggestion with council just so that there's guidance on the negotiations.
Can I have a motion to amend to include the 49-year? Yes, Councilor Ady, seconded by Councilor Cunningham. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. Back to the main motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We have a report from planning with regards to DVP 2606 at 525 2nd Avenue West, which, for the sake of people listening, is the old movie theater. Recommendation is that council approves development variance permit number 2606. And I'd look for a motion to that effect. Councilors Forster and Randawa. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We have a report from the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer with regards to Council Procedure Bylaw, number 3563. Recommendation is the Council consider this report in regard to Council Procedure Bylaw number 3563, 2026. Can I have a motion, please? Councilors Cunningham and Nish. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Carried. We move on to bylaws. We have the cemetery bylaw number 3562. Recommendation is the council give third reading to cemetery bylaw number 3562, 2026. Motion, please. Councilor Nish and Cunningham. Any discussion? Councilor Cunningham? Okay.
Section 10, Memorial General B.
Microphone, please.
Section 10, memorials. It's B. The memorial must be laid flush with ground level and devoid of all curves. We had this discussion before about especially some of the cultural ones from Indigenous and that being of a height. And throughout the whole cemetery now, there's some up to 3-4 feet high in height. So I don't see where we're gonna restrict new ones to flush with the ground when the cemetery is already covered in these 2 and 3 and 4 foot.
Can I have Deputy Miller comment, please?
Yes, thank you. So staff did remove the section in GG, and that was just missed. We will ensure that the language in the bylaw reflects that you don't have to have a completely flush mount. We'll ensure that it reads that you can have an appropriate headstone that staff can move, and just ensure that we have the ability to maintain and whatnot. That'll be corrected.
Councilor
Well,
Cunningham.
I fail to see where we're gonna put it in the bylaw that it's there, and then they can go to the engineer and get. I just think that a lot of the First Nations headstones are works of art. They're monuments, and more with more and more people my age. I go to a lot of celebrations of life, and they're passing on now, and I can't see them wanting just a flat stone. So I'd like to see that just taken right out, because it was taken out because there was a restriction just to GG, and it took out the restriction to GG, but then you put it back in with or left it in for the whole cemetery. So I see no reason why it just can't be taken out, period.
Deputy Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we will be taking that out. It was just inadvertently missed in the section. That will come out.
Okay, I can support it then if it's taken out.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We have a council procedure bylaw. The recommendation is the council give first, second, and third reading to council procedure bylaw number 3563, 2026, and repeal council procedure bylaw number 3508, 2022, and all amendments thereto. Councilor Rendawa, Councilor Adey, any discussion? Councilor Cunningham.
Just 1 in 35, conduct of members. Council members shall treat one another with respect and address comments through the chair. I'm just having fun with that one, because you're always reminding me to look at you.
Yes, yes. Talk to me.
Just add one very.
Yeah. That's very good. Any other comments or questions? All in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. Council Roundtable. Councilor Cunningham.
Okay, the first one is the sidewalk in front of the mall. It's been mentioned a few times over. People are now saying the fence is knocked down. People are using it as a garbage dump, and people are walking inside the fence and everything else. I don't know all the ins and outs of that small chunk of property, and if CAO Pucci could enlighten us and see what the city is trying to do. And I keep getting, well, why doesn't he just go do it and give them a bill and everything else? It's really easy for people to come up with these suggestions, but in reality, legally, we can't do certain things and can do certain things.
And I will go to you, CAO Pucci.
And I've got a couple other after that.
I mean, it's an incredible eyesore in the middle of our community. And today I watched people from the cruise ship walking past it, trying to walk past it as guys were putting the fences back up again. And it's gone on for far too long. I was pleased when I saw machines in there working, but that's a number of months ago. There's been zero activity, and I certainly think that it long past the time that a letter be written to the mall owner and investigating, why hasn't it proceeded and when are they going to proceed? And then I think we should look at every possible action. But CAO Pucci, maybe you can be specific in terms of whose responsibility, what is there, if you can help us out.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So we are in discussion with the mall owner. In fact, today there was a discussion that went on with our staff and the mall owner. We have care and control of the first about 1.5 meters, which you can see the fence is at our fence, which is our fence is at the back of the 1.5 meters. We've reached out to them. We've told them that we want to collaborate on what goes on in there. We'll do our part even a little bit more as they fix their part. I think from my understanding, and I think that we should send a letter, I agree, but they're unsure of what is going to be put back there. And there was some decisions whether they were going to be putting back planters, whether it was just going to be sidewalk. There was also discussion about more access or egress from that building, whether they needed more fire exits and whether they were going to be doing work with that. So staff can take this away. We will get more active and on the owners of the mall and get moving forward on it. I do agree. It's been a long time, so we can push that.
Yeah. Councillor Cunningham.
Okay, the second one is gas prices in Prince Rupert. I've noticed the last couple of weeks the BC Security Commission has been asked to look in prices in the Squamish to Pemberton's Sea to Sky, because prices are ridiculous there, and also a couple of other cities. Well, in the last few days, today specifically, Terrace is at 176.9. The rack price out of Terrace is 158.2, and we're paying 199. The rack price is a wholesale price. You can't tell me that it's almost 41 cents to bring a liter of gas in that B train from Terrace to here. You know, and with the profit. So I would like the city to write a letter to the BC Security Commission inquiring why our prices are extremely inflated compared to the next towns to us. You know, it's something that people keep bringing up and talking about, and no one seems to do anything about it. So maybe if the city could write that letter, and maybe they'll investigate it. I don't know what powers they've got, but it's getting a bit ridiculous when I can buy gas for 20-25 cents a liter cheaper in Terrace than here. There's something wrong with that picture.
Next item. Any other item?
Yeah, one other.
Yep.
It's the thing that came up a couple times about the benches and plaques on the waterfront. And people have been asking about it for up to 5 to 6 years, I've been told. And they're saying, oh, well, we haven't made the plans yet. Well, 6-7 years, I think it's time to tell people what we're going to do. I went to all the meetings for Mariner Park, and that came up, and that was 2 years ago.
CEO Pucci.
Thank you, Mayor. We will be actually at this meeting. We were going to have some information coming forward about the waterfront park. It's going to be in August now, so it'll talk about the waterfront park, the different sections of the waterfront park, and sort of how all of that will be developed and what that looks like along the Millennium Walkway and in the park. So that will be brought forward in August for council's view.
Thank you.
Councillor Nish.
I was just going to add to that conversation about fuel prices. I don't know if there is any rhyme or reason to it. I drive the highway lots, and Prince Rupert is not the high one actually. I saw I have the fortunate driving a diesel, so I get to pay even more. $2.19.9 Prince Rupert, $2.26.9 Smithers, $2.26.9 Kamloops, $1.66.9 in Prince George at Costco. So there's a 55-cent difference almost, or 60-cent difference that I've seen. So it's all over the map. Any given town or there's no explanation for it in my eyes. It's all over the place. So, I mean, I don't know. We can write a letter, but I don't know. It's not specific to Rupert. It's everywhere. I mean, I choose to not fuel in certain towns because they typically are higher. Hazelton's always been super cheap. Now it's not. So I don't know what to do.
Councillor Cunningham.
Okay, on that, in places like Prince George and that, you can get a variation of prices of up to 10 cents a liter. You know, from Costco, Superstore to other gas stations here. Every one of our gas stations is the same price. You know, like when Canco first opened on Park, they were around 5 cents a liter cheaper than the other gas stations. Now they're right up there with the same price.
Councillor Ady.
I have something else, but just on that subject, I'm not sure whether a motion is required, but I'd be in favor of finding out more about it. It sounds to me like what we're interested in is an answer to the question in terms of the local situation, and a more general answer to the question of what drives the inequities around the province. So if a motion is required to write a letter that asks both those questions, I'm happy to make it.
Motion is made, seconded. Councillor Cunningham. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It's carried.
I
Yes. Oh, you had something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The world needs to know that I went and played golf for the first time in 2 years last week, and I can say that my skill level has not changed, and I'm not going to describe it any further than that. I do want to give a shout out to the golf course, and coincidentally they put out a post today describing some of what they've been up to, and I want to amplify that a little bit. First of all, this project on the 12th hole, I know that Prince Rupert Wood and Steel has been very active in supporting the work there. The golf course tells us today that they've contributed in the last year over $150,000 to various community projects and initiatives. They've offered a free junior program that has resulted in junior membership going from 25 to over 75 kids. Wow. The membership at large has increased from 165 to 250. And some of the organizations that they've donated to include Special Olympics, Seafest, Youth Basketball, Hockey Provincials, Addiction Recovery, the PERS program for stray cats, the dance competition, and a little closer to the work that I've been doing, they've hosted prospective doctors and teachers who are looking at coming to town. So all in all, just a major shout out to a group that's making a difference.
Great. I'll just tell you very briefly, this previous week was at PENWAR in Edmonton. PENWAR stands for Pacific Northwest Economic Region. It's made up of the sort of northern border states that border BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan, as well as the territories to the north. So this economic region, and it's been an active organization for a long time. It's gains a lot of it's got a lot of horsepower. Usually premiers, ministers, and others, business leaders are there. My biggest single focus was connecting with Alaska again. There were representatives of the delegation from Alaska. We had an opportunity to talk again around Alaska ferries, and PENWAR themselves have a transportation person who's active on the file and participated in the meeting that CAO Pucci and I took part in Minister Farnworth's office in Victoria, and so just really solid. But in addition to that, there were just a lot of other economic discussions taking place that are relevant to Prince Rupert, and it was good to be there. Our economic development team was also there and very, very active, not only in PENWAR but also in meetings in Edmonton, and one of the organizations that played a significant sponsorship role was AltaGas, and so I had a great opportunity to have good conversations with the team from AltaGas. So just all around, I think, worth attending. Anything else? If there's nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn and resume the closed council meeting. All in favor? Or I need the motion, sorry. Moved by Councillor Ady, seconded by Councillor Forster. All in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. Meeting adjourned.
Good night, everybody.
We'll take a